So have you ever thought about going from an employee to the owner of the business that you're working at? Check out today's interview. We've got Dr. Charlie Sung from Choice Dental down under from Australia on one of our current clients. And that's exactly what Dr. Charlie did. He was a dentist at this office, purchased the practice, transformed it, invested into marketing, particularly SEO, which is what we're going to talk about, and is now a thriving business. Check this out. Hope you're going to like it. Welcome back to Local SEO Tactics, where we bring you tips and tricks to get found online. I'm your host, Jesse Nolan, here as usual with Sue Ginsburg, Bob Brennan. And Sue, we've got a special guest on here today. Would you mind introducing Dr. Charlie to our audience and kind of setting up what we're going to be talking about here today?
I would love to. It's a real honor and pleasure for us here today to have our client and friend, Dr. Charlie Sung of Choice Dental in Australia, Brisbane, Australia, here with us to tell his story, which is a very interesting story and one that many business owners, I think, aspire to, in that Charlie was a practicing dentist looking around to buy a practice, which he did. And then, in my mind, totally transformed that business by being the smart business owner that he is, looking at the marketing, looking at what he needed to do, changes he needed to make, including many technological, and has been growing the business steadily ever since. It's a great story, and he isn't stopping there. Still growing and expanding and looking for more. So Charlie, if you want to start by maybe telling us a little bit of how you came to us and what you were looking for, what you had in a practice, and what your vision was, and what you're on your way to making happen with Choice Dental.
Yeah, sure. So back in, I would say around about maybe the 2018 or so, I just got the itch to become a dentist owner, a business owner, like a dentist business owner. At the time, I was an associate in a practice working for someone else, and so from then I was like, I have to go out and probably want to do my own thing and have my own business. So that's when I started to look around for a practice to buy. At the same time, I knew I needed to level up in my business skills once I did buy a practice. So that meant learning new skills such as marketing and SEO. And during that time, I was a big podcast listener of this show, so Local SEO Tactics. And so that was very helpful in for me to learn what marketing is and what SEO is, and know what to look out for if I was to ever do SEO myself, or most probably when I were to hire someone, what they needed to do for me, just so I had some understanding of what they were talking about. So I eventually did buy a practice in November 2020. So this was actually the practice I was working in. So things worked out very, very well, in terms of how it all eventuated. So buying a practice that I already worked in meant that I already knew the patients, I already knew the staff. So the transition was a lot easier compared to if I bought a brand new practice or that kind of thing. And so since then, basically just been trying to develop the IT side of things, the digital marketing, and trying to get the name out there even more. The practice does have a good reputation, and it had a good reputation when I bought it as well. And now it's just trying to enhance it even further.
Charlie, I like how you're presenting this history, right, and how it all transpired. And I feel like you're being super humble because it's it just worked out good, and I was at the practice I was at. But you put so much work in ahead of time. Just hearing you talk about like, I know I'm going to buy a business and I got to learn a few things for areas that I'm not educated in. Got to be smart about it. None of this happened by accident, right? Even if it is serendipitous how it all worked out for you at the practice, but man, that was all laid by the foundation you were putting out there, right? For what you needed to learn, what your objectives were, and how you're going to go forward. Um, so I just wanted to say that to you. We've enjoyed working with you, right? As a client and as a business owner, you get it and you're smart. And that type of preparation and thoughtfulness and intention for what you're doing shines through to our side working with you and hearing you just kind of give that brief story of how you came to be where you're at with the practice. Shines through as well too. So any business owners or aspiring owners out there, marketing managers, yeah, Charlie's doing it the right way. And not to put you on the spot, Dr. Charlie, but how old are you right now as we're recording?
34.
Right. So not bad, right? Not bad for what you're doing so far. And we've enjoyed working with you. If you wouldn't mind, can we back up even a little bit further? How did you decide you wanted to be an owner? You were practicing, right? You're, call it successful dentist, do it, practicing your craft. What made you think that you wanted to take that next step with a lot of risk, potentially coming with it? How'd you get in that mindset and what made you move forward?
I guess like it was always something that I like this entrepreneurial, like, business mindset. Like, it's something that I felt like I already had, like, since like a teenager. So like even like supporting myself through high school and university, like I would buy and sell things online, so on eBay and like Gumtree and things like that. So this kind of feeling of you know trading, I guess, like controlling costs and making profits and all that kind of thing was always interest me. And so I felt like it was always going to be like part of my plan. So because of like my upbringing. Um, and I guess, yeah, maybe 2018, I think I just came back from like a longish holiday. And then I was like, oh, I like holidays. So I kind of want to have more free time. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to, get off the tools. And like, I felt like the best way to get off the tools was to, own a business. And that also complemented my sort of personality regarding like being a trader or business person, or that sort of mindset that I had.
That makes sense. So when you started, thinking about taking that step, like you said, you started to learn and seek out education and information for digital marketing, among other things. Within the scope of just marketing, what other stuff did you look at, or were you just saying it's going to be digital, it's going to be SEO, it's going to be website driven? Were there other types of marketing, and maybe talk about how you weighted those or what the priority was on that as you were kind of going through that stage?
Yeah, so I guess I did go on like websites that were that describe like small business owner like marketing strategies, and there's like I did read about people doing like flyers and billboards and all that kind of thing. But yeah, like we also hear about like the ROI being quite low, and like it's a lot of effort, and it's like a one hit sort of thing. Like you chuck the flyer out, and then like that's your only time for them to buy, and like if they forget or throw it away, like that opportunity's gone. So like whereas in my mind, I felt like if I put the money into SEO, like the website's going to be up there forever, and then whenever the people want to see it, like they will just find it. So it's not just like a one hit sort of thing. Like they can come back to it as much as they want when they're like when they're doing their research, and when they're ready to buy, we're still there. And so I felt SEO was a bit more of a long term like option.
No, it's not as immediate maybe as a flyer, right, on somebody's door or in their mailbox or whatever. But to your point, right, it starts to become evergreen and everlasting. And Bob, like we always say, like doesn't call in sick, right, or go golfing. Your website and stuff, right? It's just always there. Takes a little effort, takes a little while to get off the ground, but yeah, it's the best ROI in marketing if it's working. So as you started going through that, you learned a lot of things. Obviously, you engaged in us, and we've been having a great time working with you through that journey. For again, all the owners and marketing managers listening to this or watching this, what are some things that you learned early on that you carried with you? And then inversely, what are some things you've learned maybe later now that you wish you knew sooner or maybe would have changed some things? Is there anything on either end of that spectrum that's stuck out to you on this journey or some lessons you've learned?
Yeah, I guess like lessons I learned early on, like so before I engaged you guys, like I had a marketing manager that like was already working for the business from the previous owner, and I guess yeah, like things I learned from that experience was that like yeah, it got a bit like scary at one point because I couldn't really get the password for my website after I took over, and then like that previous digital marketing person was a little bit reluctant to give it to me, and then that sort of just like rung like alarm bells a little bit, and then so like that was yeah, it was a stressful time. I wasn't sure what was happening. Like I hardly knew this person at that point, and was like withholding something that was very valuable to me. So, so that was something that like try to avoid if you're like a fellow business owner and ever in that sort of position. And so yeah, like eventually I did. I was able to get the passwords and decided to move my marketing business to you guys. And so, yeah, so that's something that I learned early on, like to sort of, work with people who, don't withhold your property, I guess. um, and yeah, so that was one. In terms of things like, I've learned till now, like, yeah, just like, creating new content helps. So like, I'm trying to get more, find time in my schedule to make more content for you guys to promote. You guys are good at like creating content for me, but like I still need to create some fresh stuff for you guys as well. So I think carving out some time in my schedule to do that, I'm going to try and get on top of that a bit more moving forward.
Yeah, I think right before we started recording, we were talking about some content that you're creating, and Sue was giving you some praise. And you were talking about, oh, I just kind of riffed on it and, just kind of put it out there. And I think that speaks to when we work with clients. Like you said, we can create content and we can optimize content and do some great things. But at the end of the day, having an owner or having people with the organizations we work with that are experts and can give that expertise, right? And create that. It truly is a collaborative effort. If you're going to have a successful website and good SEO, nobody can craft your message for you, right, without your input to an extent. And nobody's going to be the expert you are, Dr. Charlie, on these topics, right? Even if we do research and things like that. So I think that's a real smart thing to highlight for everybody is for your business or the team that's involved with running your business. Yeah, their expertise, their opinions, their information should come through into your marketing, and nobody should just do it for you. And I kind of put that in the same bucket of, like you said, you got to own your property, own your assets, control them, have the passwords, kind of know how to access everything. Even if you have trusted partners doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, it's still yours. And you have to be invested into it to a certain extent, or you could lose control or just have it not be as effective. So again, I think those are marks to where you're doing it right and you're pretty smart about how you've been going about it. And we can see that. I do want to talk about some of the things that we can see. Everybody listening and watching can check this out too. If you do some searching, just look up, dentist Browns Plains, Choice Dental Browns Plains, is particularly in the amount of reviews you're getting. And Bob, if you want to chime in on any of this, I know this is a topic you're always passionate about. But Charlie's crushing it right now in the amount of reviews he has, especially compared to a lot of the competition. And that's always very important for us from an SEO standpoint. But you can't get that if you're not running a top tier business, right? People won't give you great reviews if you're not providing a great service.
And I guess what I wanted to ask Dr. Charlie is, when you came into the picture, what was the review situation? Was it always that good? Did you have to work on it? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so like when I took over the business, like I think we had around about like 27 reviews. So yeah, so
Really?
it wasn't really like like a focus in the previous digital marketing strategy. And yeah, I guess one of the other reasons why I was thinking we weren't a good fit was because when I brought up the topic of reviews and said how important it was, and it would be great if we try and get more reviews, like he just like shut down the idea and said it's not going to help, and like it's just going to create like a review war between you and your competitors, and like no one's going to win. And so I was like, oh, okay, I think this is not really going to, I think our ideas are too far apart. So but yeah, like we started off with about 27 reviews, and I think at the moment we're above 290 reviews. So it's definitely been as a great. It's been going well, and it's a big part of like I do try to emphasize with the team that like we need to get reviews and how important they are.
Yeah, and I just want to state, we work with a lot of companies, and everything from the tire store, repairing tires or switching tires on cars or whatever, to some of the most, they're 1.4 billion in sales last year. So we have the conversation about reviews, and it's just one of those things, they don't take it serious. My point is, in your situation, you took it serious. It's very difficult in the health field to get as many reviews as you have. And you have to be doing something right on the service side. In other words, you have to be doing a good job. And that's impressive on its own. But then you saw, I would assume, the results once you started getting all those reviews, as far as what happened with business or new business. I presume that must have made a huge difference.
Oh, sorry, could you say that last bit again, Bob?
Yeah. So the number of reviews that you received, it must have, over time, you must have seen a huge increase in new calls or new business during that time. And it's very impressive.
Yeah, so like I think we have been getting more calls, and so we've, like, when I took over the business, we're a 3-chair practice, and then so this year we've finally opened our expansion, and then so now we added 3 additional chairs, so we're a 6-chair practice now, and then so all all the phone calls and things like that, it's helping in trying to fill up those 3 additional chairs. So we're not full by any means for those 3 new chairs. Like, it's going to take time to fill that up, but I think all the new calls and things like that, we have somewhere to put them now. Before, we had a lot of calls, which was great, but then we were sort of like losing some customers because like some people just didn't want to wait a few weeks to be seen because we're at capacity. So now we've got like extra capacity. We can see these people a bit sooner, and we're putting those new calls to good use.
Wonderful. Good work, though. I mean, we can only do so much. So our goal is to get our client sites to the top. But if they don't have the reviews, they're not going to convert. And you did your part, your share, and you're continuing to do that. So your business is going to definitely grow. So congratulations.
Hey everyone, just a quick message about our free SEO audit tool on localseotactics.com, and we'll get right back to the show. If you haven't taken advantage of it yet, go on out to localseotactics.com/free SEO audit, or look for the yellow button up in the top right corner, click that. And it's going to take just a couple seconds. You enter in the page that you want to optimize, what you're looking for the audit to score against. enter in that page, enter in the keyword you're looking to get optimized for, and enter in your email address, click the button, and it's going to take a few seconds, and then it's going to send you off a PDF report via email. It's a great report. It's going to kind of give you an overall score of some vital SEO areas for that page and for your website at large, even though it's auditing this page. That's going to tell you some of the good things that are happening, some of the bad things that are happening too, and give you basically a checklist of some things that you need to shore up and what you can do to improve your SEO for that page, for that keyword that you're auditing. Now, you can use this as many times as you want. You can do multiple keywords, multiple pages, multiple keywords on the same page. You can even use this to check against your competitors, right? If you want to do a little reverse engineering, see how they're scoring for a certain keyword, what they may be doing good that you're not, and some things to improve there. So lots of different ways to use it, completely free. Again, go on to localseotactics.com/free SEO audit, or look for the yellow button in the top right corner of the website.
I also want to add that you are a highly rewarded business. It seems to me sometimes that once or twice a month you're telling us you got another award. Could we please put this new one up on your website?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like we do try to enter in like certain award. I don't know if it's a competition, but it's just like that sort of process where like you put yourself out there, and then there's judges that have to pick who gets this award. And then so I do try to like enter the business in things like that as much as possible. And yeah, I think it builds confidence with like, new patients and even existing patients who like, might want to, do some like more business with us if they're seeing things like that. So yeah, it is a part of like the strategy.
And your team feels good too, right? Like these are good edification and just, I mean, who doesn't like awards and trophies and recognition, right? And that's segueing me back to, I want to ask you about your team and your practice. Back to the reviews is where I'm going. To get that many reviews, what was your strategy? Is there anything you can share with everybody else watching and listening? Like you said, you were not against getting more reviews, but didn't, give it, a lot of effort, a lot of credibility to needing them. But here we are. You have hundreds of reviews now, and it definitely makes a big difference in the SEO, somewhat directly and indirectly, but then also just for the overall vibe and buzz, what's happening, how you look online. What have you done to have your team and your staff help get these reviews, solicit reviews? What tricks, what methods have you used, and what's worked and what hasn't worked too? Maybe if you have anything there.
I just to back up, like so it was also the previous digital marketer that didn't have a big emphasis on reviews, whereas like I did have like a big emphasis on reviews back then. And then so that's where the difference was. But yeah, in terms of getting the reviews, like I do try to incentivize the team, so not the patient or the customer, like the team member to do the asking of the review. And so like by doing that, like if they get a review, like if we get like 10 reviews or 20 reviews or something like that, it might be that I buy everyone lunch or have some sort of like small little like token prize or things like that, or like a reward. So yeah, like and it's sort of like a team reward, so everyone has to do their part. Like, well, someone has to ask for the review, and so that's, I guess, the front of house people have to do the asking, and like the back of house clinicians need to do a good job. And so it's you don't get the review unless everyone does a good job. So that's why it's like a team reward.
Oh, that's perfect. That's where, like Bob, again, we always talk with any service industry, particularly hospitality, medical, food service, like whatever it is. If you're interacting directly with that patient, that client, that customer, asking for it right there, right? Not always just an email later or the old back of the receipt. Can you take the survey and give us a review? It has to be that personal connection to really get good quality reviews and to get them at scale, like you're doing, Charlie. That's excellent. Let's talk about kind of shift gears. So we've been working with you doing SEO literally for years now and have had some good success. You've kind of shared with everybody your business is growing and things are happening good. Now we're getting into a phase where you're starting to create that content, kind of launching your own show, right? Getting into the next phase of digital marketing, not just your website and your Google business profile, but um, getting content out there. What's your plan for that? And do you have a direction for that, for how you see that impacting your business, your SEO, and just really your entity online? Do you have any comments you can share with that?
Yeah, so like regarding content, like I think the easiest way is like is how like Sue has like kind of recommended, which is like doing like these video interviews between myself and the Intrix team, and then so it just makes like there's a lot of talking points that I can get out in a short period of time, and then so if it's just recorded. And then later on, like the Intrix team can just like turn it into words and then change it up turn it into a blog post or like some sort of like video or audio file. Like it just means that like there's very minimal effort for me, and like minimal time out of my busy schedule to provide good quality content, and then like it can just be disseminated like in the correct channels, and then I get like the best sort of exposure out of that 5 or 10 minute conversation that I have. There's a lot of content that I can bring in 5 to 10 minutes if it's done the right way, and it doesn't take up too much of my time, which is what I like.
And that's our service, Sue. We call that, of course, content accelerator. And Dr. Charlie, you're hitting on the reasons why, right? Like you said, you can jump in there as an expert on these topics for 10 minutes and just kind of dump what's in your brain out onto a recording. Now you've got audio, you've got video, you've got the text in the blog post. And then, of course, you can cut all that up into little snippets and chunks that you can use in all other types of digital marketing. But for you, the creator and the expert, 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes if you did some prep ahead of time to kind of get yourself ready. That would take hours and hours to write those blog posts, right? Or to kind of type that stuff out versus just spoken. So I know internally we're really excited for you to start operating in that manner, as all of our other clients to do the same thing. And I'm excited to see where that takes you for just how Google sees you, not just having now your website and your Google business profile, but now you're in all these other multimedia, buckets and all the stuff pointing back to you. We're going to get those chairs filled up for you here with these efforts. So
I, I have something that I'd like to ask. Charlie, just to give you some context, in the last few weeks, I have had conversations with two different business owners who are healthcare providers like you in different practices, and each one of them said to me when they thought about opening a practice, they thought if I build it and if I put a website up, they will come. I mean, it was your classic, where are all the people? I opened my doors 2 years ago now, and where are all the people? You have been so different to that. And it makes me realize how much you've been pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I mean, you're trained as a dentist, not as a business owner. You're a self-taught business owner. And with everything that you're doing, whether it's on the business side or the marketing side, I see you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And now, especially with the videos that you're making, what do you have to say about that, or any advice to other business owners who are thinking of doing what you've done?
I think like there's a lot of stuff that that as a business owner you need to know, and then so just trying to get ahead of it and prepare, and like the journey of learning is never ending, unfortunately. So So yeah, I guess the sooner someone can embrace that reality, like the better. And then and then that way they can just, if they can just dive into learning, like, rather than hesitating, because it's gonna be, you don't need to do it, like, so yeah, it's not a maybe. It's like, yeah, eventually you're gonna need to learn, like, all the HR laws and marketing and all that stuff. So um, yeah, it's good to have at least some understanding. So even if you do hire someone, you can sort of keep an eye on them, and like understand what they're talking about. And when they ask you for decisions, what decisions to give them. So yeah, I think the learning journey just never ends. So yeah, just jump on it as soon as you can.
I like what you said earlier too about when you first started tuning in, to our show, Local SEO Tactics. I'm paraphrasing and I'm putting words in your mouth here, but you weren't doing it to be an expert about SEO, to do all the SEO yourself. You wanted to be educated on this in general, so you can make decisions, whether it be to hire somebody, to bring on a company like ours to do it. And I think as you're talking and making sure you get into that education mode, doesn't mean we have to be experts in every single thing. But if there's an area that you're naive about and you're not knowledgeable about it as a business owner, you at least have to understand what it is, right? To know how to select an expert, or know some of the do's and don'ts to be able to navigate that. So again, that's super smart, and I hope everybody takes that advice from you. Curious in that same vein, are there any particular books that you've read or that you're reading now that have stood out and helped you along the way here too? Or are you kind of a YouTube and podcast learner? Any books come to mind that you want to share?
Yeah, I'll probably say I'm a YouTube, no, not, I wouldn't say YouTube, just mainly podcasts. Because I had like during that time in like 2018, when I was, in that mode to find a business and all that, like I had like a commute to work that was about 45 minutes. So like podcasts like worked well to sort of fill that time, and like, learn without having to carve out time to learn. Like I just drove to work and listened, and so you can consume quite a bit of content like in that 45-minute drive every day. Yeah, so that's probably the main thing. It was probably podcasts. Yeah, and there's a podcast on every topic these days that goes in quite deep. So that helps a lot.
Yeah,
There's
I think
100
you're like
podcasts
most.
on every topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're like most professionals, doctor, in that you don't have, your time is limited, and you literally, the only free time you have is driving to work, driving home. And if you're like me, the last 15 minutes of your day as you fall asleep, you set your timer on the podcast for about 20 minutes, and hopefully you can catch a little bit of Tim Ferriss or somebody, right, or some marketing tip or whatever the case is. I guess my question for you, my final question, I guess, is, knowing what you know and the journey you've gone through right now, do you feel you have the confidence to repeat this in another market?
Like in a completely different business. Is that what you mean, or?
Perhaps in the dental business, obviously. I mean, it's something right? And so I know you're in Brisbane. That's a $2.2 million market. Unless you can split, do you feel you can expand into open up another practice in either another city or locale at this point? You feel confident in that, or?
Yeah, I think I have the knowledge, if I wanted to, but at this stage, like, it's probably my desire, like, not to have separate locations. I think like one location is enough work, and I think I'd rather kind of just grow the one site, rather than have like a smaller business but multiple. And I think that might just give like better bang for buck for my time and like stress. But yeah, I think but with the knowledge, like if I had that desire to open up another branch, like I think the knowledge is there, to do that. Yeah, once you've done it once, you sort of know how it works. So I think it is easier to to replicate and do it another time. Yeah.
Do you have any final questions or comments?
I was just hoping that you would ask the question that you often ask. Knowing what you know now, Charlie, is there anything in particular you would say to yourself a few years ago about this, or to somebody else who's in a similar situation to you, looking at, can I do this? Can I do this? I really want to do this. What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I think like for any like kind of big career change, or like something like this, like trying to get into business, like there's never a perfect moment to do it. Like you always feel like you're not ready. You always feel like you're not ready, but sometimes like you just gotta do it, even if you feel like you're not ready. And then a lot of it is because it is like a never-ending learning journey. Like you will never really learn everything before you start. So like it's just better just to do it, and then learn it on the go, and then you also have that motivation to learn it as well, because you've already taken that first step. So I think just take that first step, take that leap of faith, and things will sort of like most likely will always like work out, and it will be fine.
Well, I think, Charlie, we really appreciate you coming on today. I don't know if we said it when we were recording here, but you're 7 a.m. your time, a little past 7 a.m. now. We're at the end of the day on our time, so we appreciate you making time early in the day to jump on and record this, share your story with everybody else, talk a little bit about SEO and how we've been working together. And I think anybody who's listening should be inspired by the things that you're saying. Hopefully they get a little bit of a blueprint, maybe some things to follow in your footsteps to do it the right way. Because like we said earlier, working with you, we see the professionalism, we see the intent, and see where you're going on your journey. And definitely want to thank you for coming on to do the interview, to share your story and talking about this. So this has been fun. Hopefully it is for you too. So
it's been great. Thanks guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you do with us, Charlie. You're a real pioneer.
Great. Thank you, Sue.
absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for checking out that great interview with Dr. Charlie. If you're listening, whether you're currently an employee or maybe you're a current owner, whatever your situation is, hopefully you were inspired by some things that Charlie said there. Hopefully you learned some things about maybe what you're doing with your marketing, what you're doing with your SEO, if you're getting reviews, right, for your Google business profile and your online listings. There's definitely some important stuff in there, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everyone.